Ravens 2 for 8 on 2-point conversions this season, which analytics alert means you're not very good at going for 2. Another cruel loss for Baltimore, moving the Bengals into first place in the AFC North, and Pittsburgh is just refusing to go away. On one hand, right, you give Harbaugh and company credit for hanging in there against the Packers with a backup quarterback and that injury-ravaged roster, but then on the other, 3 straight losses. They're now out of the playoff picture as of this very moment. You can get even money here, plus 100, for them to make the postseason. You like that bet, Pearce, or we're out on the Ravens?
Yeah, I've been out on the Ravens all season. This is probably my number 1, number 2 fraudulent team. They're not a good team. They needed a 66-yard field goal to beat the 500 Detroit Lions, if we don't forget. So, yeah, did they almost lose yesterday? Could they have won the last couple games? Maybe. But look, the secondary of this team is completely injured. They lost another cornerback yesterday. Aaron Rodgers was just cutting through this team. Had a near perfect game. They scored 31 points. Good teams don't allow 31 points. They're going to argue that, well, the Ravens scored a bunch of points. They came back. The Ravens were down 14 points with 8 minutes left, and the Packers went into prevent defense. They were playing their linebackers 5 yards off the ball. That doesn't work against anyone, especially against a rushing quarterback. And so Huntley was able to run for 5-10 yards, dumped the pass off, and ended up scoring 2 touchdowns. The one time the Packers played defense at the end of the game was on the 2-point conversion, and guess what? They didn't convert. The Ravens are frauds.
All right, Reid, what would you be betting when it comes to the Ravens here?
Next year.
Yeah. We're turning you're thinking they're out.
Yeah, I mean, look at their last 3 games too. Like, yes, they get the division matchup with the team that's now in first place and the Cincinnati Bengals next, but they have the Rams and the Steelers. And what did we see with the Ravens and Steelers last time? Is that team always plays them hard, right? That team always leaves them battered and bruised. So if they finally get guys back in that last game of the season, they might lose more guys because this team just has that injury bug. It's been the Chargers for the longest time. But now it's the Ravens who are just not healthy. And Lamar Jackson, if he's in this game, and even if he was playing, could we have seen a different scenario play out? Probably not. Right? Mark Andrews is fantastic, but when your tight end is your best player and that's pretty much it, it's going to be extremely hard to make a huge playoff run. They are probably a team that has gotten on the good side of variance early in the season, which is why their record is where it is. And Lamar Jackson is able to put his team on his shoulders for as much as possible. But and then the play calling too, with the going for 2 at the last second. I mean, you've heard it ad nauseum, right? If you're going for 2, and if you don't want to play OT, and if you want to win a regulation, you don't wait until the last play of the game to do that. You do it before. But that should be telling that Harbaugh doesn't believe that his defense and his team can win in extra innings if it's against a playoff caliber team like the Packers. So no, I'm out on the Ravens.
All right, Ulrich, Baltimore can jump right back in with a victory over the Bengals in Week 16.
Yeah, this AFC North, admittedly, like I almost want to make the argument that the Ravens have dived enough in the odds to make them like an interesting value proposition. But I think Reid and I think Pearce both alluded to things that just make me want to stay away from this team and keep staying away from it, as I've been doing. It's just they have no secondary and their schedule is terrible. I mean, like the Rams, like Matthew Stafford is going to throw for 400 yards against this team. I mean, there's just no way. So basically, it's a must-win game last week, and then it's going to come down to them beating Pittsburgh, who, again, just always plays them extremely tough. I think you just stay away. They're interesting just because they have Lamar Jackson. I don't even really mind the decisions made by John Harbaugh. Yeah, it sucks that they missed both, but they make one of those 2-point conversions, and we're sitting here talking about them being in the division lead. So Reid's right. Like, they rode the right set of variance, and it caught up to them. And I just don't think this team has what it takes down the stretch. They'll probably lose next week just because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, again, probably just have some kind of field day. So I'm still out on the Ravens. They have moved to the odds, though, if you're a real big Lamar backer, where I think you're at least getting, good enough odds to think about them.